lay off on that before I wake up the family. What can be said? SOD, speak English or die, you know. Had to pick up the reissue. Went out for a little shopping trip at Newbury Comics last week, a week ago, today actually, before I got deathly ill. It's a classic. I've ranted about it before. I don't really need to, it needs no introduction. This is a reissue that I picked up. No word on it whether or not it's remastered. Sounds better, louder than the LP that I had. But it's got some live bonus tracks from Tokyo. And a few bonus studio tracks. I'm not sure if they're from the old era or from the Bigger Than the Devil era. It's Identity and Go. Not sure. They did a cover of an Italian band, Inferno, a song called Ram It Up that ended up on a Megaforce comp. I don't know why that's not on here, because that's a great cover. Inferno was awesome too, by the way. Anyway, I thought I'd make a quick update here. I got some CDs to show off. Some new old stuff, but before I get to that, I decided I'd do a 300 subscriber thing. Kind of hemmed and hawed, you know. I know it's something that kind of everybody does, and I don't really like following the pack that much, but I'm really, really happy and stoked that people have been subscribing at this rate. I'm at like 260-ish right now, so what I decided I'm going to do is have myself a little raffle and make one of y'all a mixtape, an actual tape. It's not going to come on CD. I'm not going to send you a fucking Spotify playlist or something. Cassette. 200 minutes. 200 minutes. No, sorry, 2 hours. 120 minutes. Strike that, reverse it. So, you know, featuring mostly stuff that I've shown on the channel. Maybe a few curveballs here and there. You know, I like some like weird psychedelic folk rock shit and neo-folk and goth death rock, you know, some singer-songwriter shit like Billy Bragg and stuff like that. Like, who knows what'll make it up on there, but probably 75% will be hardcore and metal that I've shown on the channel, so you can expect that. Located below, you'll find a new email address for the YouTube channel for Ground.Zero.Salem, and I also started up a little Instagram account specifically for the channel, just showing off stuff that I've collected, random ephemera, toys, you know, whatever, books I might be reading, video games, just crap that I'm into. I keep my other Instagram account separate for pictures of my kid, my family, and me doing everyday shit. You don't really need to see that. You know, nothing too exciting there, except for me. Love my life. Anyway, figured I'd get started. This stack here is mostly from the Armageddon order that I made. I'll put the link for them as well. You can order directly from their shop. They have an insane amount of great stuff from various genres. They also have a Discog store with an insane amount of metal, as well as even more punk and some other stuff too, some rock and roll and whatever. There's also some stuff that I got from Amazon and from my Newbury Comics trip last week. So to kick things off, Mortician, Hacked Up for Barbecue, the first full length from 1996, the year that I graduated high school. Not to date myself or anything. To be honest, I've never owned this or listened to this before this. I've always been familiar with the EPs and singles and stuff like that previous. You know, got House by the Cemetery there, Mortal Massacre, Brutally Mutilated. I picked this up a little while ago too, the demo CD, a Necroharmonic with a bunch of live stuff on it. That's a good one if you'd like, you know, if you can handle the fidelity and the rawness, fidelity or lack thereof. It's good. This has a lot of stuff from that early shit re-recorded. Probably the cleanest sounding thing they did to date at that point. Still very, very intense, fuzzy bass sound, courtesy of Will Romer. And the slightly cleaned up sound, you know, it was a little bit actually to take in for me, because the drum machine is a lot more apparent, a little harder to get used to. But after a couple of spins, it's just a steamroller of a fucking full length. So it's great. You know, horror themed, Incredibly guttural vocals. Awesome shit. What's awesome about this is a reissue on Disembodied Records, and it's still got the Relapse logo on it, so whatever. Came out in 2010. What's awesome about this is it's kept the original layout, it looks like. As you can see, there's Will and Roger right there. They both have AOL email addresses, so you know it's from 1996. And the thanks list is fucking insane. Right here through here is all bands. And you can imagine transporting yourself back about 20 years and being like, fuck, how do I track all this shit down? How do I check these bands out? It was a good way to learn about stuff, you know? There's a lot of mystery. So, yeah, completely blank trade card there. Awesome stuff. This is an Amazon buy. Schizo Mainframe Collapse. This is classic Italian thrash. Hard to nail it down to specifically thrash. It's kind of proto-black. It's kind of crossover. From the same sick-ass scene that brought us Bulldozer, of course. Necro Death, you know. Not Black SS, that's my friend's band. Death SS. All unique in their own right and all great. And not to be that, like, hipster fuck that ironically pokes fun at, like, the way Europeans dress or anything. I actually think these guys look awesome. Look really fucking cool. This dude's great. This guy with the braces is really cool. I like this dude's do-rag. He seems like a smaller Peter Steele. I love that Schizo shirt. I've seen that like on eBay, like boots of it on eBay. I'd love to get my own mitts on one of those at one point. But yeah, super fast, like pretty much blasting speed. Thrash metal has certain similarities to like maybe some of the Teutonic 3 in the beginning, but like a certain punkish crossover kind of thing too. I could go ahead and drop Cryptic Slaughter's name again maybe as a comparison, but fucking great. And then I was in the D's in Newbury, and I was like, holy shit! Somebody sold all their Deicide CDs. Like there was pretty much their entire discography. Not interested in anything really past Once Upon the Cross. Another one that, like, you know, heard it in passing when it came out over the years. Spun it in the car today. It's alright. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's really that great. It's pretty mid-paced. They're definitely pumping the brakes a little bit after this bad boy right here, Legion. It's got some really good riffs. They definitely dialed it back with the dual track vocals, which I understand, but like that's part of what made them great, you know, at least on those first two records for me. But, you know, that was Cursory Spin style, so we'll see. When I look at this trade card here, I'm reminded of the fact that the original artwork for this that was censored pretty much immediately had Jesus there on like a dissecting table, like with all his organs out. And I had a stoner roommate in 1998 who was like, I'm gonna get that tattooed like on my chest, but with like my face instead of Jesus's face, and I'm gonna get a logo that says Meicide. And that was the dumbest shit I ever heard in my fucking life. Love that guy, but man, what a stupid idea. He didn't go through with it, of course, thank God. But yeah, music's decent. There's just so many other 90s death metal records that I need to that I could, you know, donate my very, very limited time to. So, you know, whatever. However, Legion, I mean, does it really need any introduction? I mean, come on. It's a complete maelstrom of fucking infernal satanic insanity. And this, I don't know much about CD pressings. It's on RC, and it's got one of those CD booklets that's a poster that folds out. The big old Tri-Fiction there, which is cool. Yeah. This album was recorded with no harmonizer on my vocals, so for all my vocal critics, suffer. Okay. Sorry, man. Yeah, I mean, unheralded, vicious, satanic, Floridian death metal. Like, just fucking amazing. Really, 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 really great stuff. I mean, there's Glenn right there. You should know it. I mean, it's the Rain and Blood of its own genre there, hands down. Snagged this Morgue Eroded Thoughts. Few people have been talking about this lately. This is a reissue that came out on Dark Descent. I don't know when exactly, years ago. Got a couple of bonus demos on it that are all songs that were re-recorded for the LP, but it's nice to have. Really cool original band, and I think the more and more I listen to bands from their area, the more I realize just how underrated Chicago was back in the day. I mean, you had Cyanide, Master/Deathstrike, of course. I was never super into Broken Hope, but they were a big deal for some people. Usurper, going back to like Terminal Death, who were early proto death metal band, thrashy kind of stuff from like 1986, who were fucking great. There's probably a handful more that I'm forgetting right now. Dead Youth, that was pre-Cyanide. And they're all different, you know? Like, all those bands, like, did their... Oh, Macabre, of course. Them, too. They were all doing their own thing. And this band was no exception as far as, like, forging their own path. They had, like, some cool angular riffing that wasn't quite as wonky and squonky and weird as, like, Atheist or something like that, but it definitely... with some finger stretching, unique kind of angular kind of shit. They had stuff that was slow on here that kind of reminds me of almost like some Autopsy Doomish kind of shit as well, sort of style. So, yeah, this is a great record. I would highly recommend if you're looking into checking out some 90s death that, isn't a pale imitator of like stuff from Florida or stuff from Sweden or whatever, to track this one down. It's great. Speaking of stuff from Sweden, but not typical at all, is Necrophobic. This is great. Nocturnal Silence. This was recorded at Sunlight. It has a bit of that sound, but it's also very unique in that it, at points, kind of, sounds like Dismember or something like that, but also has a heavy dose of, like, Metal Blade Years era Slayer injected in it, I feel like. There's a lot of sort of melodic evil stuff kind of sounding music within riff styles and stuff like that. Very, very catchy. As well as sort of a little bit of a black metal edge. I actually, before I heard this, I expected it to be little bit more like just a black thrash kind of thing, but it's quite a bit more than that. The Slayer influence really pulls it together for me. This came out on Hammerheart. No idea what year. This is a reissue. I believe the original was on Black Mark. I said something about that in the liner notes. Yes. Booklet there. This guy's not into fashion, it says right there. Always very blonde people involved in these bands. Deicide too, for that matter, come to think of it. Hoffman's. So that's awesome. This is a band that I've worshipped for a long time. That I've liked a lot. I had this reissue on LP a little while ago and I wasn't happy with the quality and flipped it. Decided to pick it up on disc. Belial. The old Wisdom of Darkness. This is Finnish stuff. It's got that murky, slight tinge of melody, but not nearly as much as the Swedish bands kind of thing. It's got that awesome murkiness that Demigod and Convulse have, but there's way more of a black metal feel to it. There's definitely something very, very, very evil and insidious looming over the music. I mean, the cover art really captures the vibe of the music perfectly. It's originally a 6-song, this fucking novelty song. Originally a 6-song EP, and the remainder of the tracks are live. And it's really, really awesome. The 7-inch that I showed off way back in the beginning of my box series of 7 inches is also certainly worth tracking down. We've got some Septic Flesh here. The Ophidian Wheel. One of the Greek bands that I hadn't really gotten a chance to check out yet. I'm still a pretty big noob with a lot of the Greek stuff. I got really into Rotting Christ first. followed by Verathron, which I'd say is pretty appropriate. And then picked up a couple of Septic Flesh CDs from Armageddon. And this is pretty mind-blowing as far as the instrumentation goes. It's got a melodic death metal, blackened tinged sort of, melodic riffing, not too different from their countrymen, but there's a lot more involved with like some operatic vocals and orchestral stuff going on. It's really it's quite almost overwhelming. There's a lot of similarities to me to those great early Peaceville bands, namely My Dying Bride and Paradise Lost and those guys. It's very gothic. It's definitely got a very, very seriously gothic tinge to it, and the production is incredibly bright and clear and full, which is nice. It packs a pretty serious punch. So that's good. I bought a Mortician long sleeve from Necroharmonic, and I had this 12-inch for years now, like right after it came out, I believe. But I figured, he was having a sale, Sleazy was, so I thought I'd, for $4 pick it up on CD too. Especially because my LP is slightly warped, unfortunately. It plays okay, but anyway, so as you should know, and in case you don't, this is a scrapped 6-song recording session that was recorded around the same time as Onward to Golgotha. So 6 songs off of that album, and way more stripped down and raw, less atmosphere, but worth a listen and definitely very powerful stuff. A little bit easier on the palate, but it's what you'd come to expect from Incantation. I'd say if you like the 7 inches preceding this, and maybe some of their live recordings, this is also probably for you. But especially if you love Onward to Golgotha, which you should, and you've listened to it into the ground, which I have, this is kind of a nice companion to hear some different takes on some of the classics. So it's great. CD's put together really nice. Clear tray there. There's a booklet. Of course, got the lovely Moyen art there. Live shots. Yeah. Necroharmonic guy does a pretty good job putting together nice looking CDs. I know he bummed a bunch of people out years and years ago over some pre-orders that he never sent out. I don't know if he ever cleared that stuff up. If anybody actually knows about that, let me know. Sometimes I wonder if he's should be supported or not. Hopefully he made right by all the people that he owed I think it was internment LPs too, but I never really got the story with that. So, but anyway, that's my update. Just a stack. Please let me know if you want to participate in the raffle. Email me, add me on Instagram, and please comment. As always, criticisms, praises, whatever, they're all welcome. You guys have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon.